Ahoy, landlubbers! It's me, your valiant Captain Vasco, and welcome back to the world of Skylanders Giants. We're here today in the same, I forget exactly what this room is called, but the place where we met Auric last time on the ship, and we're here for a very special reason. We're going to be making better use of the totem equivalent this game around, so now that we have access to one of them, we're going to open it up right away. So the first gate was an undead one, so we've opened that up. Next appears to be life.
Fruit punch.
So Yoshi will help us out. And then got air, unsurprisingly, as again these are the elements that come in the starter pack for the game. I think this first time around, that'll be enough to open it. Now, today, I very particularly want to give this treasure to Flint. And again, I've mentioned in the past that I think it's very important to get one of his upgrades in particular in order for him to be, like, a useful addition to the team early on. And, actually, now we have enough to buy that upgrade. So let's go take care of that right away. Now, personally, I always recommend just, like, smashing all the boxes on the ship every time you come back here. Oh, I accidentally went in the door. The hitbox for the doors is a little wonky, so you might want to watch out for that if you get easily annoyed by that sort of thing, because I could see that happening. But yeah, there's a lot of boxes on the ship. There's also a couple other things. Let me see if I can pinpoint it today to show it off, because there's like a couple of parts around the ship that'll start like you know, hopping up and down or like jittering, and that means that if you like hit them, then you'll get like a 25 gem, which is nice, 25 gold gem. This grate here is one of them. However, it's not the one today. I think it's like every time you get to the ship, like one, like it randomly chooses one of those things, and it will be like freaking out. Oh hey, look what I almost forgot about. Got a winged sapphire here on the ship. There's a free discount at the store, so it's a good thing I remembered to find that before we bought our first upgrade at the store. Would have been real embarrassing otherwise. And seems exactly like the sort of thing I would do. Again, these like pipes over here I think are the type of thing that will do the jittering, but it may not even have kicked in yet since it's still fairly early in the game. As soon as I find one, I'll point it out and let you know, because it's something that's good to keep in mind. It's not a big deal, but again, since I like to get all the treasure I can every time I go to the ship, it seems worth doing.
Welcome back. Ready for another magical upgrade?
Ready for my first one, at least. So the one in question here is the rock slide, and I think I mentioned during episode 0, but I feel like Flint has the hardest time coping with damage of any of the giants, at least of the ones that I have. So I think it's really important to get him this one because it gives him a way to dodge enemy attacks, and that's super useful. So let's buy this, especially now that we have a new discount, shiny new discount.
Rock on.
And now we can have him disassemble into rocks. It's kind of hard to show off in here, but like it's a good way to sort of like, you know, avoid attacks. In any case, I think that'll take care of everything that we need to do today on the ship. So why don't we head on to the next level, which will mean talking to Captain Flynn. What's scoop, Captain?
Well, according to the map, we've still got a ways to go. But don't you worry, we'll get there soon enough. In the meantime, why don't you go have a chat with Callie?
Oh, I did not remember that it did that. Well, I guess we'll have to talk to Callie, but
if you're
hopefully...
looking for a way to sharpen your skills while we're heading to our next location, I've got just the thing. Heroic challenges. They're tough, but that's so that they can make you tougher. Want to give one a try?
Oh, and of course I'm as Flint when she asks me that. Yeah, I completely forgot that at this stage of the game they'd force you to try a heroic challenge. But since I've already shown off all these heroic challenges, I'm gonna meet you as soon as I've taken care of that. Alright guys, we're back here on the Dread-Yacht, the ship that we'll be spending much of our time on here in Skylanders Giants. And now we might as well point out the fact that every time you leave the ship, even if it's just for a heroic challenge, all these boxes will respawn. So if you ever just need a quick amount of treasure, you know, like a 100 gold or so to pick up an upgrade, you might as well just sort of like talk to Callie, like lose a challenge, probably something like the Purple Chompies one, which is really easy to like fail out of, and then come back to the ship and rinse repeat until you have all the treasure you need. It's a really easy way to do it. There's a couple easy ways to do it as well. I'm not going to be like trying to cheat the system or anything. It's just something to point out in case you're like really desperate for gold without wanting to like play through an entire other level or something. Get out of my way, Mabu. There's gold and it belongs to me now. Also, when we respawned here on the ship, we got one of those jittery things I was talking about. See if I can actually line myself up to hit it. So you can see like the little the valve turning every time I hit it, and then eventually, there you go, you get a gem. Not that exciting, but again, just wanted to point out, every time you're on the ship, you might want to keep an eye out for that, because 25 gold isn't anything to sneeze at, but it's also not going to break the bank. So if we talk to Flynn now, we should be able to embark on our next adventure.
Our destination. You ready to go find this hermit fella?
I should say so. I mean, we just got an upgrade and we got all that gold, so we're doing pretty fine.
Alrighty then. Of course, we're gonna need to take that dinghy to get down to the surface. It's a tight fit, but we're all friends here, right? So this is the town that hermit supposedly lives in.
Does anybody think it's odd that a hermit would live in a town?
Well, I'd stop and ask someone for you, but they don't look too friendly. Think I'm gonna set her down somewhere a little quieter. I'll tell you what, this place looks like it might be more your kind of scene. We'll meet up with you when you find the hermit.
Alright guys, welcome to the 3rd level of Skylanders Giants, a level that begs the question, are you ready to Rumbletown? Yeah, that's right, it'll make more sense later on, but the name of the game today is Rumbletown, and there will be a town to some extent, and certainly some rumbling. But I think, well, we can show off our new upgrade in battle, although it's still not to the point where it's like maximum useful. Luckily the enemies here aren't terribly powerful themselves, still like mostly chompies. And we introduce ourselves to that's great, since anything kills chompies basically, you can just like destroy them by exploding into boulders. Where did that armored guy go? I thought he was gonna charge me. Did he run away instead? I suppose he did. So that's our first introduction to armored enemies. It's a new addition to this game, as far as I remember, where basically like the armor provides like 1 or 2 hits before you can actually do damage to the enemy character. But since we've shown off Flint a fair amount already without even starting the level, let's try out someone whose element zone we're in. I always sort of hate to waste that light core explosion that you get when you summon a light core character, but sometimes you just need to try a character you haven't played with in a while. Now, before we head up and through that monster gate we just opened, there's a couple orders of business. 1, some chompies hanging out for some reason. 2, pile of gold over here. It's a nice pickup. And 3, this totem pole. And obviously that didn't do anything right now, but it'll make sense a little bit later on. Right, and before we head up the hill, we have yet more exploring to do. And it looks like our friend Pegasus will need to lend a hand, or a giant eye. You know, whatever he's got handy. Or I-E.
Let's see what
We're still at the stage of the game where most of these elemental areas are pretty simple and straightforward. Here we find ourselves a hat behind a simple gate. Now, I really don't remember the archers being able to get over here, but there are archers around here. Let's try on this new hat, because this is actually one of my favorites to put on Pegasus. Wear the hat now. It somehow, like, suits his suit of armor, like, quite nicely. I feel like it's a good match. Like, same color scheme, and, like, the buckle matches the trim on his armor. It's cool. Another pile of gold. Some treasure over here. And then some interesting ghost character.
You can't beat me at Skystones. You don't even know how to play yet. Come back later.
Well, rub it in, why don't you? That's just hurtful, man. No, it's cool. We'll get him later. He thinks he's hot stuff right now, but to be entirely honest, he barely knows how to play himself. I love this. This is this weird interaction of the game where there's gold here and my head is passing through it, and I could easily pick it up with my hand. But the game's like, nope, you are not in the correct area to pick that up, despite your enormous
Skylanders
size.
of the air element are stronger in this zone.
Yeah, so if you didn't gather from that conversation we just had, we still don't know how to play Skystones. We will learn soon, and I don't know, it happens kind of like suddenly. It's not as if we have to go through some like grand quest to learn. We sort of suddenly know how to play. So I wonder why it is that they don't just like let you play from the start. I don't know. Maybe one of you guys can shed some insight onto that. As for me, my goal is mostly to fight some guys and pick up all the collectible things. Now, before we head through that gate that we've picked up the key for, time to show off what that totem business was about a moment ago. Now, there is a life spell punk here. You might want to take him out first if you're not confident in your ability to take out these root runners before they get the opportunity to heal. But it's not a terribly rough crowd of enemies. And we are rewarded with a new Luck-O-Tron wheel. Wheel of Power. Pretty sure we don't have one of those yet. I don't recall which ones we've already picked up. I know we have experience. I think the other one we had was health, so I think power is still a new one. This one basically increases your chance of doing critical hits, which I think I've already mentioned, but in case I haven't, that's what this one does if you plug it into the Luck-O-Tron, which I showed off previously. Now, Pegasus is already like a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of experience, so now that he's helped us with his elemental gate, let's switch back to our Air Skylander. Especially since this level... I don't love this level. I don't hate it. It's certainly not like the levels I disliked in the last game, which just caused me complete trouble. I mean, this is only the third level of the game. What I don't like about it is that in order to pick up everything, you end up doing like a ton of backtracking. You just keep playing through the same sections of the level. It's just really, it's kind of boring. Life Spell Punk, our formal introduction, which is interesting since we've already met a Life Spell Punk. For some reason I thought we had met one in a previous level, but thinking back on it, I don't believe that we had. Alright, level up. Perhaps that lucky wheel of experience is already paying for its installation. We got a character we could talk to, although we're not quite outside an elemental gate, so what does he have to say?
Hey, you! I discovered a nature area on top of this hill here. As soon as I can find a way up there, I'm gonna name it after myself.
A nature area, Quigley? Come on. You've been with the franchise since the very beginning, and you don't know the terminology? That's a life area. Honestly, kids these days. So there's a lot of, like, long winding hill path here. Not much to look at until we get to the top, where there's some archers and some more armored lance masters. They don't want to come attack me. If you have, like, an arcing attack, you can attack them from there. Otherwise... just sort of keep going and they'll do their own thing. Now there's a bunch of blocks here. The first thing I like to do is push this bottom one as far as it can go, and then push it down off this ledge so you can get in here. Look, a whole bunch more chompies. Wow, somehow the chompies have managed to like line themselves up so that they're like attacking me right between my shots instead of dying. It's pretty impressive actually. I mean, part of it is that I haven't upgraded this blaster at all, because this thing becomes much more of a force to be reckoned with once it has been upgraded. Should probably just kill the root runner so I'm not just doing this all day long. There's some food that I can actually use. I love that the enemies can use the bounce pads. It's a nice touch, making it so like the bounce pads are an actual thing instead of just like a Skylanders thing. I don't know. It's a small thing, but I like those kinds of details. It makes the world feel more genuine as opposed to just being video game. Sure, you get this treasure chest, because you went to the trouble of finding it and killing all those guys.
Ha! The spoils of war.
But, nice, picked up a bunch of gold and leveled up. Why don't we try someone else? In fact, perfect candidate would be Yoshi!
Punch.
Of course, now that we've picked up everything in here, you might be able to guess what we have to do next. We have to backtrack up the hill we just climbed. This is the sort of thing I'm talking about. Like, it's just sort of redundant. The whole level is like, you did a thing! Yay! Now redo that thing. I hope you liked that thing that you did very much. Alright, push this out of the way, push this out of the way, and this top block is the one that we'll be wanting to interact with. But before we can push it any further, it's lovely that I got hit during a cutscene. You might remember how much I hate it when the game does that. From the last game. There we go. It's lovely. I'm gonna get them back for that. Don't you worry about it. Now this this block that I've pointed out. Yeah, come on. There we go. Just want people to stop attacking me while I'm trying to push this block. Now the block that I was mentioning, if you push it all the way left and up, you get a story scroll. Mole drop. Let's have a listen.
One of the stranger Molken traditions is to enter a neighbor's home by way of the chimney, completely unannounced, and yell, "Mole drop." At that point, the inhabitant would give the mole a prize based on how surprised he was. One such resident was known to always be very surprised, thus leaving the best prizes.
Now again, this one acts as a hint for something later on. I forget the exact level, but I definitely remember having to do this, and yeah, it's another one that, like, you could miss out on. It's a little weird, not necessarily something you would automatically do, but we'll be exploring that later. For now, we will appreciate the fact that we have collected a collectible. Gathered a collectible? Collected a gatherable. I don't know how you want to say that. Before we drop down, let's talk to Quigley.
Ah, I beat you here!
Dang it!
And I already named it Quigley Grotto! Check this place out. I hear there's some kind of powerful hat in here somewhere.
Curses! I was hoping to get here before him and name this place Yoshi's Island. I'm sure there aren't any copyright issues with that. No, as far as I know, there's no way to beat him. I'm pretty sure he's just supposed to beat you here and be kind of a jerk about it. What's funny, though, is that if you don't talk to him the first time, he'll still act like you know what's going on. So you can just skip him the first time and talk to him when you get here, and he's like, "Haha, beat you!" And you're like, "Oh, okay, I don't understand." Let's think about this. I think I could take this on with my life, Skylander. Something interesting is about to happen. The game's first ambush. Now, ambushes, I believe, only happen in elemental zones. Yeah, having the bonus damage from matching the area is pretty nice. But yeah, these are sort of like those boss fights that you used to have with Chaos in the last game, where he would summon a bunch of like evil doppelganger Skylanders. Now this is one of the easier ones, but it can still be tricky. So like the way this works is that the evil stealth elves will like do a charge at you, do their knife attack. The tricky part is until you've beaten the first one, there's just like there aren't a lot of great places to hide, but as you like wear them down and start beating them, or you know, if you just level up, that's also good. But yeah, really, this is sort of like a bullfight, where all you have to do is try and like sidestep them and then damage them. But it can be tricky when the area is full of them, because there's just not a lot of places to hide that don't get you attacked by a different stealth elf. Again, this is one of the easier ones, but it can definitely be challenging. I would not be surprised if you're, you know, not super experienced with the game, if you were like, if you did get one or maybe even two Skylanders knocked out by that. Especially since the first time it happens to you, you're probably not expecting it. I know I wasn't. But it's something to look out for when you're in elemental gates. And, you know, you might want to make sure that the Skylander you're using has a fair amount of health. Of course, you can always switch once the ambush starts. It's not like it locks you in. It might be an interesting mechanic for them to include in future Skylander games, although I'm sure not a lot of people would appreciate that. Being able to switch Skylanders is a big part of the game. Though, you know, who knows what they're going to come up with in the future. Oh yeah, one thing I haven't actually pointed out, though. there's a couple of cliffs in this area where, like, if you approach it, then vines will come out and grant you access to a new area. I'm just gonna eat this pretzel. Don't need to. Gonna do it. Yeah, it's sort of like the way the life gates worked in the last game, but you don't actually need a life Skylander to do it. To prove that point, I could switch Skylander characters right here. I suppose I might as well, especially since I did just level up. So let's be a giant, actually.
Any last wishes?
How's it going, Hinata? So now we are a magic Skylander, but we can still summon these life vine things from the life area. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind. So we've got a bomb here. I'm going to take it all the way back here to show off. This is the way that you open this gate if you don't have a giant, or if you don't feel like switching Skylanders constantly, like I apparently have no problem doing. But the main purpose of this bomb is this. You hit that switch and it opens up the gate on the other side of the ambush thing. No, that's cool. It froze the bomb in midair. Oh, there it goes. More food. It's nice. Didn't need it, but it's there. And, oh, look what it is. It's a lock puzzle. Do you know how much I love lock puzzles? I'm gonna let you guess. If you didn't guess not at all, you're wrong! Okay, so let's do this. It's always sort of wonky to get it started. Okay, so first, 2 rights. Then a left, dropping us on that one. Then 3 more rights. 1, 2, 3, followed by 8 lefts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oof, that was a bunch. Now 4 rights. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, of course, you could always just... Once you're on the last one, you could always sort of just, like, go in that direction until it's solved, but the actual solution is 4 rights. And look, another winged sapphire to cheapen our upgrades at the shop. Yes, and cheapen is a word. It's a word I just made up, but that doesn't stop it from being a word. 2% discount on stuff, as we've learned in the past. Yeah, one minor nuisance about the lock puzzles is that the like weird animation it has when you get close to it, where like the Lockmaster Imp sort of like fidgets and like the lock things bounce up. It somehow prevents you from being able to just like press Y and get into it. Like the animation needs to be at a certain point in its cycle or something for you to get inside, so it's kind of annoying like that. Look, we're here earning another hat. So we're going to trade the fairy hat, which looks kind of like a gourd, for the carrot beanie. Gives us a ton of elemental power, so let's try it out.
Splendid.
Looks really weird on her red hair, with her ponytail coming out of it. Yeah, so that's the end of the area. One point of interest is if you feel like doing so, you can use that bomb to blow up this root runner, but the like experience and such are likely to despawn by the time you get back. So this warp will take us back to where the ambush started, which if we backtrack just a little bit, these vines are being really finicky today. It takes us to this ledge. We can't get back up where we came from, which means that of course we'll be backtracking even further. So again, this is what I mean by I don't love this level because there's just a ton of backtracking. It just doesn't stop. Like almost until the very end of the level, the backtracking continues to be annoying. Hey look, it's one of them there archers. Now he is no more. He has ceased to be. Here's something you'll want to pick up. This bounce pad under those treasures leads to more treasure. Now, here's something I find interesting. There's this bomb here. I was really confused when I first got it. I was like, do I need to throw it at the houses? Do I need to go somewhere that I haven't seen? Like, what is it? The purpose of that bomb is actually to blow up that giant wall in the undead area if you don't have a giant Skylander. So, I think you'd need a fairly quick one. What's the timer on this one? 11 seconds. Maybe you don't need one that quick, but the goal is you would take the bomb, head down the hill, go into the undead area, and then blow up that wall. But, again, you could always switch to, you could always simply switch to a giant, which you almost certainly have. There's so many drow.
My strength is within.
Hey, who's this guy?
Well, well, look at what we have here. A Skylander. Oh,
Sure
are you
is.
lost or something?
Yes, actually.
Wrong answer,
Oh,
pal.
I'm sorry.
I'm Brock, and you're in Brockstown now.
I thought this was Rumbletown. I'm looking for a
Boys,
hermit. Can you direct me,
give this
please?
Skylander a warm welcome.
Oh, a warm welcome. Perhaps a fruit basket? Ooh, or a muffin basket. I do love muffins. Let's actually use this technique. I don't use it as much as I feel like is maybe warranted. It's not super powerful, but it is good when you're surrounded by enemies. Of course, Hinata's combo move is also good for that. Oh, I got one of my quests. Quests are like a new addition to characters in this game that I haven't really, like, fully understood or, like, mastered. Like, there's some that are, like, universal, like, you know, beat, like, 1,000 monsters, and there's...
Think you can beat Brock that easy?
Yeah.
Wrong!
Oh, man.
Brock's holding all the cards, and Brock knows who you're looking for. If you want that crazy old hermit, come get him.
Well, I already told you I was looking for the hermit, so it's no surprise to me that you know who he is. I'm pretty sure I can beat you, though, because you just look like one of those, like, Goliath drow or whatever from the last game. I beat them before. I gained a lot of experience from that area. Took a lot of damage, but that sort of happens with the giants. I mean, especially a melee giant like Ninjini really is at this point. I mean, you can upgrade her to get ranged attacks, and again, I'm still not sure which path I'm going to go for, so please feel free to weigh in the comments if you have a strong preference. I love I just, like, bumped into that sheep and sent it flying. I guess that's what happens when you're a giant. But, again, we've achieved a level up, so let's switch characters.
Hail to the whale!
Laboon! Alright, so we'll need to pick up 2 keys before we can progress. There's a locked gate in the way. I don't know if you saw it. Didn't point it out right away. But let's head in here. We have 2 enemies, not exactly as threatening as what we just encountered. But luckily they provide some treasure for beating them. Or I suppose not really for beating them. What you get for beating them is the key that we need. So we do in fact need to fight those guys. More treasure. And now let's use our belly flap to speed our way out of here. Not that we're going to be anywhere close to beating this under the time limit while getting all the collectibles. It is sort of nice to just speed up the process. I'm sure you guys don't need the dead silence when I'm trying to think of useful things to say about Skylanders, although there really is a lot to say about them and strategy in the various levels. I do like this addition to the game. It's another small thing, but I like that, like, the gate sort of interacts. Like, it feels more like it's keeping you out as opposed to just sort of being a static wall. It feels like there's actually a magical force trying to keep you away if you are not the correct element. But since we have a friend of the correct element, he can open the door for us. Though I think our giant whale will still be the one to take care of business here, because he hasn't had the opportunity to level up just yet. Hey guys! I love fighting choppies with giants. It's just really satisfying. They just sort of die. Root Runner, stop making bad guys. That's no good. It is in fact bad to make bad guys. We got a bunch of treasure and experience. These are good things. Then we got this. Whatever we picked up from that. And see there, like, the Y button flashes over for a second, but even if you press it then, like, you can't get into the lock puzzle. Here's our second lock puzzle. This one's exceedingly simple. Right twice. And then left 3 times. 1. A 2. A 3. That drops us there, and onto that, and we are done. That's probably the easiest one in the game. I'm not sure there's ever been one that's less than 5 moves. But for our trouble, we get this treasure. Also, I lied. Laboon totally did level up. I just forgot that happened. Still, he needs the experience more than Yoshi does. but perhaps not as much as some of our other Skylanders, so maybe we will want to switch for the moment. Let's switch to someone a little quicker because there's still more backtracking to be done. Let's call on Rush. Oh, I love that hat. What a good hat. He hasn't had the chance to level up, and he doesn't have very much treasure. So we'll spend some time with him for sure. Now, just like in the last game, you can sort of interact with these sheep using various elements. Hey guys, I'm not sure you can get past my walls. Oh, some of you did. But look how much damage they did in the process. And by damage they did, I mean to themselves. Yeah, I don't remember the Lance Masters being nearly as tough in the last game. Now, maybe it's again simply because my Skylanders aren't leveled up, but they appeared in early levels in the last game as well, and they just didn't feel as strong. They definitely do feel stronger this time around, at least to me. Let's kill this life spell punk before progressing. I don't think there's actually many more enemies around here, but I would rather just not have enemies healing in general. It's problematic. So let's head into this house. Not much here, but again, I didn't actually point this out before, but there are some places that you need to go simply to work towards completing, I believe it's the Dares subset of like challenges for the levels. The one that says like all areas found. Like going into this house counts as finding one area, even though there's nothing that you actually need to do in there. And I believe this also counts as one of those. Because there's 2 archers, and then somehow Quigley is here. Oh, watch out for the fire, even though I'm basically made of fire. Hey, Quigley.
You heard about this Skystones game that everybody's playing? I can tell just by your face that you haven't. When you learn how to play, come back sometime so I can school you at it.
Why won't anyone play me at this game? But it's fine. He's just a small child, so we will get revenge on him as soon as we get Skystones too, right? Not really. He's like the hardest one in the game for some reason. Alright, more treasure. But we have actually amassed all the keys we need. But we wanted to get those locations found. Now that we have, I don't think there's even any more enemies in this area, so we shall progress after burning these sheep for no particular reason. So we'll unlock 1, unlock 2, and we will ignore this lock switch for the moment, because we have other business in mind. These push blocks will lead us somewhere that we can't go without pushing blocks. Of course, they make it as annoying as possible so that you need like the maximum number of moves to move 2 blocks in a straight line. But we are rewarded for our efforts with this legendary treasure. The Eagle Pilot House roof. Now I think after this, either after this level or before the next one, I'll show off how exactly the legendary treasure in this game works. But for now, I think it's something that's easier explained with some visual accompaniment. So we'll just focus on the level and head back up here so we can flip the switch and make it through that door just ahead. I think perhaps the best way to do this is to send like a delayed attack, so we get the most time to go through the gate, although the timer isn't actually that, like, strict. Now here there's another life spell punk and several archers. More archers than you can realistically deal with the healing in play. I mean, you could take care of, like, you could take care of them really slowly, or you could just take care of the spell punk. I prefer getting rid of the spell punk because having the enemies heal is rather annoying. Even when you can beat them, it definitely makes things take longer. Alright, Bob's our uncle. Another gateway passed. Now I'm sure this bridge leads somewhere important, or if it didn't exist. So let's go!
Think you can follow Brock that easy?
Yeah, there's a bridge leading right to you. Oh, come on. Oh no! He broke that bridge. What a jerk. Alright, I guess we'll have to find another way. Then usually these push blocks will lead us somewhere, so hopefully they'll lead us somewhere useful. Alright, let's make another bridge over this way. Da-da-da. Pushing blocks always takes a needless amount of time. Alright, so here's the best way to do this. Once you've made the second bridge, first collect this key because you will need it. It is important. And then you can hop down here and get this treasure. Because if you don't do this now, then you'll have to go out of your way to get it later. And that's kind of pointless. You can, however, set yourself up in this fashion, because you will want this over here later. This might be like a good thing to keep in mind if you're trying to speedrun the level, is that is the quickest way to form that path for yourself. Now, you've probably noticed that there was a locked gate here, but we're going to ignore that, and it's very important that you do ignore it if you're getting all the collectibles. Sour Sink Lodge does not sound like a place I want to spend my time, to be honest. It sounds kind of gross, probably a little bit smelly, but there's also a lock gate in here, and this lock gate has another key in it. So if we unlock this, we pick up this key, then we'll be able to go through the gate outside, but also pick up the Soul Gem. What happens to be for the Skylander that we're playing with at this very moment? The Soul Gem ability he is granted is called Ding Dong Ditch, and basically there's a move that we'll be able to unlock shortly that causes him to like fly up in the air and make a small explosion on the ground. And once you have this upgrade, you will leave a present behind, if you know what I mean. If you know what I mean, then you probably know what this picture indicates, but that's okay. Just gonna leave that one where it is. Not gonna talk about the dog presents. Alright, we've picked up all that treasure. Got everything from in here, so we can move on through that gate. Although, there's one thing... No, I can point that out later. We will handle that later. For now, we will just make our path. Pick up some watermelon.
Hot on the trail.
Watermelon's pretty good. I don't know if you guys have ever tried watermelon. I once went to a watermelon festival. That was a really weird day, in fact, but I had a lot of fun. So over here we find more enemies. And when there's like a bunch of enemies who are wanting to charge in on you, that's an excellent time to make use of Hot Dog's firewalls. Of course, you also have to watch out for ranged attackers, and there are plenty of archers in this section. This level actually has a lot of drow archers in it. So, yeah, the main thing about that is that you don't want to stand still. I love that the archers never take damage from their own arrows hitting them, even though they can do that. Like if they target themselves, if you're like standing near them, you get hit and they don't. I mean, I'm made of fire. I feel like if there's any immunity to be had here, I feel like the dog made of fire should probably be impervious to the fire arrow attack. It's also really interesting. I don't think Chompies really count towards any enemy gates in this game beyond that first section. And in fact, the Chompy Pit, I think it actually only counts that Archean Jouster. So I think Chompies just don't count towards enemy gates anymore. I think they did in the last game, because I think at least the first enemy gate in that game was based entirely on defeating Chompies. If you know or remember otherwise, please let me know in the comments. Love to hear from you guys. Also love to smash things open and find gold inside of them. Okay, just gonna clear out this gold. Talk to Auric and show off what he's got for sale. He's got a couple interesting things this time around. Hey, Auric.
Yes, I hoped I'd bump into you. Pick any item you wish to purchase.
I mean, that's basically how a shop works. I love how he's like, I'll let you buy anything that you have money for. But yes, that's the concept of trade. Alright, so this is a charm. This game introduces charms, but it doesn't really make a big deal of them. Some of them, like a lot of them actually, you kind of have to go out of your way to get. But the way this works is that I think I've pointed out that when you're in an elemental area and your Skylanders of a matching element, then you heal at a rate of like 5 health per second or something like that. Apparently, if you buy this charm, it increases it to healing 20 health per second in an elemental gate of the matching type, which is actually pretty good. Then we got a couple hats. Some of these definitely had Fancy Hat in the last game. I remember putting that on Guile. party hat might have been from the last one. I know a lot of the ones that you can buy in this game are from the last one. I haven't actually compared the like stat boosts they give you to see if they're actually the same or if they just look the same and are slightly different. Because I definitely feel like the hats in the last game are more impressive, as I've mentioned. But yeah, so there's a couple of hats. Then we have the regeneration power-up, which I think also heals you something like 20 health per second, as long as it's active, but it's like a one-time use thing. I think you use these from the pause screen. I've never actually bought or used these. I prefer to save my gold for things that are more permanent. But yeah, like this is sort of like one of the I forget exactly what it was called, but there's like the hourglass power-up that comes with the Darklight Crypt, I believe, and it allegedly does the exact same thing as that. The lock puzzle key, it's worth 500 gold, but lets you skip a lock puzzle. Can be nice, but I find that it's a little bit too steep for me to want to buy them, even though I would love to skip all the lock puzzles. Also, they're each only good for one lock puzzle, which is a big drawback to it. If I could pay like 2,000 to skip all lock puzzles, I would totally do that. It's super annoying. And then finally, Fairy Dust is actually a very interesting include to this game. I don't think I've pointed out what this does in the past, even though we may have seen one before. But again, you use this the same way you use the regeneration power-up, which I've never done, but I think it's from one of the pause menus. It may be from like the select menu with your Skylander, but I think any one of your Skylanders can use it after you buy it, so probably not. But you use this, and then Persephone shows up, and you can buy an upgrade in the middle of a level. So that's really cool. If you were like saving up towards an upgrade and want to use it right away, having some fairy dust handy might be nice. It's also pretty cheap at just 50 gold. But those are all his wares. Nothing that we're interested in buying today. But we're not done backtracking in this level just yet. Oh no, I don't know where you got that idea, but you were wrong if you thought that. We will need the help of a giant to progress backwards. We've actually got ourselves something of a diving board here, so I suppose you could say our pirate whale is about to walk the plank.
That goes away!
And there's an absolute ton of treasure in here. Hooray! Now, people who are really astute will notice that we've only picked up 2 treasure chests, and we are basically at the end of the level, which you might have guessed by just the configuration of things and the fact that we've reached the other side of the bridge where Brock was like, "You'll never follow me!" Mwahaha!
Oh, a fine bounty.
Some of my gold got stuck up there, which is why it's great to have Falco on our team, because his suction gun means that this treasure will not go to waste. But unfortunately, we will need the help of a giant yet again momentarily. We get dumped out this hole that we can't go back in, but we've got ourselves another treasure chest to find. Spoiler alert, we've basically found it already. Feat of Strength. I forget if we've actually done one of these log ones yet, but this is another type of feat of strength. It's a pile of logs, and you'll like flip them into the air with your giant to clear a path to usually treasure or some other collectible. Maybe some treasure and a collectible, if the treasure is just in the form of, you know, gold lying around. Who would I like to have this treasure? I feel like Pegasus doesn't have a ton of treasure. Let me verify that.
I've got my eye on you.
Yeah, I think he's a good candidate here. All treasure chests found. Hooray!
I'll take it.
I love all his eye puns and how there's so many of them that some of them just aren't actually puns. And just make sure that we've collected all of our collectibles, which we have. Luckily, the stars will even change color to let you know that you've accomplished them mid-level, which I forgot about, but that's a nice touch, so you can just sort of check. You don't even have to go in and verify each individually, because once you've hit this menu, it's like, a gold star. I have done that thing. Alright, so let's bounce our way back up. Now, the thing I was mentioning, wanting to point out earlier, is that if for some reason you don't have a giant, or your giant got, like, knocked out during the ambush or something, you know, you can come down here But I suppose you can't actually get in here without a giant, which is curious. So I wonder why you have the ability to come down here. I guess it's in case you happen to miss the diving board thing, and you still want to get as much treasure as possible. Still seems a little weird to me, though. But you can hop down there if you want. Though if you're speedrunning, you're probably just going to be avoiding all of those things entirely, so it's not terribly useful. You can always pick up these rocks and look for gold under them, but you're rarely going to get more than like 20 gold, and it ends up taking a while if you try and lift up every rock. You can't hug every cat, after all. It's a very similar principle. So here we've got a gate, and we need to flip both of these switches. But once we do, we've reached the end of the line.
Pipe down, all of yous. Brock promised the entertainment, and here it is. A Skylander!
I mean, I guess I could do a song and dance, but, oh.
Are you not entertained? Good answer! And don't forget the crazy old hermit who Brock used as bait.
Hello there.
Now, let's make with the mayhem! Arena battle. Go get 'em, boys!
Alright, so Rumbletown is fairly aptly named as it introduces the arena battle, which, well, it's kind of complicated to explain. I mean, in its simplest form, it's what this area is, where you're just sort of in a confined space, and enemies will keep charging at you.
Get in there and fight!
And, like, eventually you either kill them or lose. But let's show off, I believe, the only main team Skylander who hasn't fought at all today.
Blink and destroy.
Meta Ridley! Destroy them with light core power! Mwahaha! Yeah, I was mostly saving him for the arena, but I wanted there to be a wave of enemies worth destroying with his light core power. I find that Meta Ridley is a good candidate for most arena battles. There are a couple throughout the game, spoiler alert. But the thing about the arena battles I like most is something that I can't actually show off during the course of this one. Man, I'm too slow to, like, get away from them. So they've managed to, like, make this endless chasing train. There we go.
Looky here. Somebody thinks they're pretty tough. Well, we're just getting started. Round 2! Next wave!
Okay, now, once that red thing starts glowing, you have to watch out for the center. Because when it starts glowing, it means that it's about to catch fire, and the fire will damage you. It will also damage enemies, interestingly enough. So it's something to keep in mind. Of course, you can sort of like lure enemies into the fire and kill them that way. Chompies that spawn on the other side of the arena, for example, will almost without fail just walk straight into the fire and kill themselves, sparing you the trouble of hunting them down. Now, it's another case where you could go after the Lance Masters, but I think getting rid of the healing spell punk is a bigger concern. This is a fairly simple arena challenge, to be honest. Some of them include more complex rules or obstacles to deal with. But, I mean, considering the stage of the game, the enemies that they provide to fight you with are actually pretty challenging. As I've said, the Lance Masters are definitely more resilient than the last game, and the Archers are generally a nuisance. That doesn't really stop, even though, like, when you have more health, they become less of an issue. They're definitely always annoying.
Ooh, it appears this Skylander has defeated all our gladiators, except Brock!
Oh, well, now we get a chance to prove that we can, in fact, beat him. Yeah, I was right, Galadro. Haha, I remembered a name from the last game. I am impressed with myself. Now, he could be challenging mostly because he spawns a bunch of life spell punks, which is actually fairly appropriate considering that in the last game, Galadro, I don't think they always spawned with, but usually would spawn with a life spell punk like in a little papoose backpack thing. So, like, it would be, like, partnered with a healing spell punk, making them harder to kill without killing the spell punk. There we go, managed to kill him before the second wave of,
Brock just wanted to be liked. Thought the Skylander would make the crowd happy. Was that wrong? I don't think it is.
Wrong Dancer! I tell you, it was the clouds that sold me out, because of what I saw. You don't look much like a cloud, but you never can tell. Clouds are crafty.
They can look like just about anything.
Whoever you are. Yeah. You don't happen to have a way off this island, do you?
Alright, there we go. Once again, we've cleared everything but our time limit. Found all the areas and whatnot. So, a couple things. One, I think it's interesting that somehow Brock managed not only to know that we were looking for a hermit, but to, like, find and capture him, knowing that we would come here looking for him, even though he wasn't captured yet. Like, there's something weird logistically about that, but that's fine. It's a kid's game. It's simple. We need to free the guy quest. That's cool. However, I really kind of dislike Hermit as a character. Hermit is the name of the hermit, if somehow you missed that. He, like, instantly, like, bothers me because he kicks Brock when he's down. And it's not like I love Brock as a character. I think Brock's a fine character. But, like, kicking someone when they're down is, like, something bad guys do. Like, that's not a cool thing to do. I mean, it's not like it doesn't seem like he injured Hermit or anything. So, like, it seems weird for him to, like, take such, like, cold vengeance on him. And then, like, his whole shtick about the clouds gets old real fast. But I'm sure you'll find that out for yourself soon enough. With everything taken care of, it's time to revisit the ship.
Oi, are you sure it's safe to talk here? They're all around us, you know. The clouds.
Yeah, listen, we were told you saw something really important. So, what's up?
They are. The clouds. They're everywhere. Look at them. Always listening, always watching.
Relax, okay? The clouds aren't out to get you. Please just tell us what you saw.
All right, okay. I'll tell you. There I was, finishing up my book on the dangers of clouds. Breeze a cloud, just a working title, mind you. When I look up and see the clouds becoming all electrified, doing some kind of suspicious swirly war dance. And then it happened. I couldn't believe what I saw next. There before me very eyes was that ugly little villainous fella. You know, the one who's always trying to take over Skylanders. Chaos.
Thank you for initiating the Archean Concatron startup sequence. My sensors indicate you have a great appetite for conquest.
Oh my.
Hail, new master.
There you have it.
Chaos is back, and he's got an Archean robot? That's a bad combination. Any idea where they were headed?
Yep. Kept shouting about wanting something inside a secret Archean vault.
What are we waiting for? We've got to get there first and stop him.
Hold on there. Only Archean robots can get to the vault. But I happen to have one.
Well, that's convenient.
Parked it in the frozen wastelands I did. Just gotta go and get him.
We're picking up a robot? I'm gonna need a bigger boat.
Haha. Oh, Flynn, you always know just what to say. Alright, so, with that, we've managed to prove that we are, in fact, ready to Rumbletown. and that we could, in fact, beat Brock. Speaking of, hey, you were a bad guy like 2 seconds ago. What's up here?
How'd you find me? Wait, don't tell me. You already know about the Skylanders Arena Rumble Club, huh? Hey, I can set up a battle for you right now. Wanna give it a shot?
Not right now, but we'll definitely be checking this out later. So this is actually the thing I was hinting at earlier, was that the thing I think I like best about the arena battles is that, like, there's a whole, like, set of them.
I thought you were tough. Oh, well, come back anytime when you're ready to mix it up in an arena.
There's like a whole set of arena challenges that you can take on by talking to Brock on the ship. Why we let him stay on the ship after he kidnapped a very important witness and tried to kill us, you know, I'm not clear on that part. It's a little complicated, to be honest. There's one other thing I want to show off before we sign off for this episode. I said I was going to talk about legendary treasure.
Hey, looks like you might have found something. Go over to the Visiagram and press the action button to attach it to the ship.
What a bizarre thing. You walk into a room where someone already is and they're like, hey, you found something! It's like, well, I mean, I was just entering this room. I would have seen this regardless, but if you're talking about no one knew this was here, you knew this was here and you could have told me about it. But this is the Visiagram, which allows us to sort of equip legendary treasure to the Dread-Yacht. So let's start by adding a paint job. So there's like 4 classes of things that you can add to the ship. So like here's the default set that we already have, and then we have picked up 3 from the 3 levels. We've got 2 roofs. We've got propeller roof and eagle roof. Personally, I like propeller roof, so we'll stick with that. And then we have a paint job, and Starry Night is definitely my favorite. This looks pretty cool. But, so yeah, Legendary Treasure has a slight secondary purpose in that it lets you customize how your ship looks to some degree, and I think that's cool. I would have liked, like, a few more significant customizing options, just to make it, like, look really different in the cutscenes, but I'm still a pretty big fan of this change to the Legendary Treasure thing. I mean, it's more useful than it was, at the very least. So, now that we go back, we have the option to fly around the ship, so let's check it out. Look at our handiwork. There's a thing on top of the roof house where Flynn is, and now the ship looks cool. One of the things I like about the paint jobs is they have some like animation to them, so there's sort of like swirly wind flying through the stars. I don't know, it's really cool. Not a big deal or anything, and you know, you can't like, to my knowledge, you can't really use any of the buttons to like change the speed or direction of the camera angle. You just sort of let it follow like that. But there you go, that's how that works, and hopefully we'll be revisiting that on occasion once we've picked up some more interesting parts of the ship. But I think for now, that takes care of business. So I thank you guys for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed and would perhaps consider liking the video. Helps me out a lot. And, oh look, another thing I can blow open. 4 gold! Yay! And if you'd like to see more of this, then you should definitely let me know in the comments, give me any feedback you have about things, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you here next time for more Skylanders Giants when we'll try to retrieve the hermit's giant robot. Can you really be a hermit if you have a giant robot to live inside of? Deep thoughts with Captain VascoDaGamer. See you next time!